for joining. We're going to try to do this session in a more interactive way, maybe to the previous one we've done with the Power community. So again, thanks for all tuning up on this Friday. Today we have an exciting topic. So again, we're going to focus on a proper use case, and that is really the great customer outcome by layering automation into the retail communication. I think that's the most important thing today to keep in mind. So we're going to talk about the technology, we're going to talk about who we are and the problem we solve, and also show you how we fit so well into the D365 platform, because this is really important. So let me start moving the slides. Here we go. Sorry for that. So I'm Sebastian Rock. I'm the VP of Sales for EMEA. I joined Solgari recently, and we have Ben Banks, who's our head of pre-sales. He's probably the most important person today because he's the one who's going to show you the beautiful technology behind our story. So as you mentioned, starting the call, Solgari, we've been working with Microsoft now for some time. We're really lucky to be part of the inner circle. I think that's a great testament of our partnership. We provide the all channel communication solution for Dynamic 365. So I think that's really key for everybody to understand that the Microsoft Inner Circle for business application, ISV partner. Another really key function and key element to remember is that our solution is fully integrated across all the channel and function, and is available globally in the browser with quick configuration. And I emphasize in configuration because it's, nearly a plug and play. So it's really, really amazing in terms of time to value, high speed to market. What we focus on is really delivering customer care, contract tracing, sales, marketing, survey, and automation across different vertical industry, from healthcare, financial services, manufacturing, retail. We see a lot of traction within the Microsoft community for our solution, for our technology, and how we can help organizations to deliver better customer sales, marketing, customer support, customer engagement. Obviously, our strategic relationship with Microsoft is key for our growth, and we've been working jointly with the Dynamics 365 sales and product team globally. We're crossing over the 110 customers across 40 countries globally, and we do business from South Africa to Asia to the UK. So we are what I call a scale-up organization with big ambition and an amazing technology behind that, and a great story. So one thing that's going to be really appealing for everybody, it's not coming from us, it's coming directly from Microsoft. So we have a less than 2-minute video, and I think it's really important for you to listen to that. So hopefully the sound will be good and you can hear it.
Solgari stood up an 1,100 agent cloud contact center and automated two-way communication solution, all integrated with Dynamics 365 and Power Automate within 2 weeks of signing the contract, subsequently scaling up to over 4,000 live agents.
Solgari's speed of response and flexibility, coupled with the extensive capabilities of their business communication solution for Dynamics 365, helped us to compete and win versus the combined forces of Salesforce.com and Amazon Connect to secure the contact tracing requirements of a major European healthcare provider.
Dan Meny here, Channel Manager for Business Applications here in Canada. Wanted to thank you for your contributions to Microsoft's fiscal 21. Congratulations again on another year as Inner Circle partner with Microsoft. A highlight of the year for me was bringing Solgari and CRM Dynamics into a fairly high profile but challenged Dynamics implementation at a Canadian manufacturer. Together, you're able to deliver a fully integrated cloud contact center solution with automated product ordering and delivery, and you really helped restore this customer's faith in Microsoft, so thank you for that. So Gary's now live in the Canadian market, bringing Dynamics 365 all-channel and automation solutions into multiple opportunities. And I thank you for the great headcount investments you've made in multiple subsidiaries. And I really think we're set up for success in FY22. So thank you for your continued partnership.
Here we go. Hope the sound was good, but as you can see, this is really powerful and coming from Microsoft. So now that we set the scene, we explain everything we're doing within the Microsoft community and the problem we solve in our technology. Let's show you what is the journey really. And it's really important that to understand that the foundation for that video I've just shown you is the way in which Solgari technology solution integrate with, enhance, and combine with Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform to fundamentally address the core business needs across customer service, marketing, and their business operation. So this is the Microsoft stack. App like Dynamics 365 customer service, marketing, and sales hub have functionality that we complement. Omnichannel for customer services give the ability to manage inbound and digital messaging, and also voice functionality is rolling out starting in North America. And the marketing app enables firm to communicate outbound, but via email only. Now, this is where we come into play and where this is really important to understand how we complement, enhance, and integrate with the Microsoft stack. Our technology provides all these business function with inbound and outbound conversational capability across voice, video, SMS, WhatsApp, WeChat, and basically any other channel that has an open API. And that's really why we talk about all channel rather than omni or multi-channel. We are really able to take the flows and processes that are created. For example, in Power Automate, we can bring them to life with our own Solgari Automate product. And the result is an effective engagement campaign that might involve feedback, survey, complementing sales processes with automation triggered by a particular event. Alongside that automation story, Solgari all-channel communication solution enhance D365 into a powerful out-of-the-box contact center for both live agent and automated conversation channel. Fully compliant, again, fully compliant, and I'll touch on that after. And we can provide a comprehensive reporting back to the business for management insights and process refinement. Now let's talk about the power of Solgari and Microsoft jointly across different vertical industry. I'm just gonna go through all the different, what we call use case and some of the vertical market that we cover. So now that we cover the what and how we do it, let's focus on really the most important. At the end of the day is the why. Why do customer and why should customers want to benefit from this combination of Solgari, D365, the Power Platform, and Teams? As an example, for manufacturer and retail firms, they can enable their B2B customer with the ability to submit orders or reorders via automation, maybe two-way SMS or over the phone in conversation with an intelligent voice object solution. As an example, let's say one retail store manager needs to reorder a specific item for a customer that may be waiting in the line or just waiting to understand what's going on, why they can find their favorite, sweater. or the manager can do it via simple, short interaction with automated sales process. Cost and time efficient equal better customer experience. In healthcare, we've enabled contract tracing and return to work service solution built on dynamic customer voice, alongside the more traditional non-COVID use case such as patient management or appointment booking. And again, high speed to value. The UK contract tracing is for the 1,000 agent configure in less than 10 days. We're also enabling real estate and housing organization to overcome the restriction of COVID-19 to perform property inspection or tenancy management via video conversation. Retailers and utility firms can send out promotional or other campaign to their customer across all the channels, automatically triggered by events such as contract expiry date, recent purchase, anything you can automate in Power Automate, we can bring it to life via our Solgari Automate solution as an effective sales and marketing campaign. And of course, this is available to users anywhere, as long as they have an internet browser. So working from home or from anywhere, with all the business communication functionality they require to serve, engage, onboard customers effectively, all of that can be provided to them really quickly. So hopefully I went through the journey, around the way, not too quickly, but I think this is a really, really powerful slide, powerful story that explain how we again integrate, enhance, and complement the full stack of Microsoft Dynamics 365. And without further ado, this is going to be the most interesting piece of this presentation. It's going to be our use case. And Ben, I give it to you now to take over.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Seb. I don't think I'm going to be able to beat Seb's awesome French accent there, everyone, but I'll definitely try my best.
It is impossible. It is impossible.
Yeah. I thought so. To be fair, rather than just jumping straight into the story that we wanted to tell, I think that, the best thing that Seb just did there was set the scene to who Solgari is and our partnership with Microsoft, but also kind of where we're going and what verticals we can work with in the market. So I'm going to do the same thing first before going into my story and explain where we live inside of D365 CE. I'm in the Sales Hub right now, as everyone can see on the screen, but I'm also going to show you inside of the Omnichannel and talk about a couple of the communication channels we have there first, just to set the scene, and then we'll go into the story. Cool. So without further ado, firstly, how do we get into Dynamics 365? How are we integrated in Dynamics 365, should I say? Traditionally, most vendors that try and integrate into Dynamics 365 will go down the managed package route or a plugin route. Solgari decided to listen to a lot of different people within the industry and the community, the Microsoft community, and they, really pushed us years ago to go down that channel integration framework route to work on version 1.0 and 2.0, and it was definitely the best thing we could have done. The reason is I have worked with previous providers before that do manage packages and plugins, and there's nothing wrong with them, don't get me wrong, but that they are something you have to keep up to date. There's a lot of maintenance behind them, and obviously installing them into Dynamics, there could be potential risks to slowing down or slowing down the actual CRM itself or the ERP system, and causing potentially issues trying to remove it if you want to keep it in there and things like that. So what we did is try and go down a zero touch route, which we did, and we went down the channel integration framework route. So just to that's kind of to set the scene. And if I just open up this banner here, you can see Solgari, the logo. If I just open that up, this is where the UI sits, or the CTI integration that I'm talking about. So CTI, computer telephony integration, is basically your communications fully embedded inside of D365 CE. Okay. Doesn't look like a phone right now, but funnily enough, Solgari, this does all channels, and like that's what Sebastian was saying. It's all channel communications. So you can make a phone call via voice, you can do SMS conversational where you text someone, they text you back to yourself. You know, you can do video, you can do chat. There's loads of different elements inside of this. And then there's the social media channels, which I'm about to get to as well. But why it doesn't look like a phone right now, because normally you need to be able to control things like messaging. So you might be getting sending out SMSs via the screen. So it looks very similar to kind of like a phone on your mobile, where you would send a message, hi, how you doing, or whatever you want to say, and then it would go into the screen here. Okay, so that's just to kind of set the scene there as well. When you're making a call, the screen turns into what we call an endpoint or a call control. Okay, so traditionally people will in a business will have a physical desk phone, like a Cisco handset, or you know, something around those lines, a physical hardware. And with Solgari, you don't need any physical hardware, and you also don't need to install any software on local machines. So really low maintenance here. There's actually no implementation with Solgari. That's a really important thing to let everyone know. There's no implementation with Solgari. It's actually just configuration that we have to do, and also with the D365 partner of Microsoft. So it's very quick. So there was a journey there about us working with a very large body health company here in the UK, and funnily enough, with them, it took us it was actually 10 days. We spun up 1,100 users. Okay, on there, and because all they did is go to the channel integration framework, or so the app source, Microsoft app source, download the channel integration framework, point it towards Solgari, you know, work with us, and then all of a sudden it's connected. And the best thing about it is this all follows the same rules as your single sign-on. So if you sign into the Sales Hub and you're an agent that's in sales, assigned to the Sales Hub on your license, then when you sign in, this will just be there for you. But if that agent also has to maybe jump on with customer service for the day and help them out, he'll move over to Customer Service Hub, and guess what? The UI is exactly the same. So when it comes to user adoption and training at the beginning element, it's very simple. Okay, we try to keep it as simple as possible. So that's just setting the scene and where it kind of lives inside of here. There's lots of different functionality, but I'm not going to just sit here and go through a demo of all the functionality. You'll see that working with inside the story in a second, so I'll keep that at bay for now. Cool. So the other part to it is the omnichannel. So the thing about Solgari is and I'm going to just open this up here, same UI, by the way. So if you have to put your agents into the omnichannel and they're sitting there at the heart of the communications and customer service of your business, then voila, you've got this here as well. They've already been trained how to use it in other modules. So it's really simple, again, in that way. So now I'm in omnichannel. Imagine an agent being able to handle inbound calls while doing a couple of live chat messages, all coming down here on the multi-session, and also maybe handling WhatsApp. So, and I want to really just talk about that for a second. So Gary's been we've just recently released our WhatsApp channel, which is hugely exciting for us, because there's only really the Twilios of this world, and these big companies that are really getting to fully get an integration working with WhatsApp. It's not that easy to kind of connect. So Gary's just released WhatsApp. Facebook is literally behind the scenes, and we have the choice basically to choose the channel you want to communicate with your customer. So, you know, in this instance, this might be an inbound WhatsApp from your business WhatsApp account. And as long as you have one of those, you can just message in. You'll see the WhatsApp to the agent, and we just route it through queues. So just like a phone call coming in, and it's routed to, for example, a set of agents with a specific skill set. So we do skills-based routing. Again, we are all channel communications, so just make sure everyone's aware. Fully skills-based routing and ACD management that we offer as well within the solution. But that's the same for WhatsApp. So they'll come in through the WhatsApp channel, and they'll get through to one of those available agents. And you can change how that gets through to them as well, from like, you know, going to an all kind of scenario where everyone gets the message to maybe a round robin scenario, things like that. Okay, so let's just give you an idea of where we're living in both CE and in omnichannel, and it's a very powerful thing. And this also works in customer service workspace. So you're pretty much covered across the whole of the stack there when it comes to D365. All right, cool. Over to the fun part, the story. Now, I'm just going to switch into more of a role play here, guys. Apologies about the acting, but I'll do my best. So the story really is about last time we were on the Power Community, we talked about customer service. It was all about inbound and handling inbound communications, and, you know, giving the best customer service and satisfaction to your client. So, but this is all focused around the retail. So I want to be an actual sales rep or sales agent that's sitting inside of the Sales Hub, as you can see. I'm acting as a company. The company is actually called the Tire Specialists. So we in retail we actually supply tires for consumers, but we can supply tires to local suppliers as well. So garages and things like that need those tires. Consumers can actually order these tires through us, and then we can actually go straight down to the supplier and get them delivered for that customer, and they can just turn up with their vehicle, good to go. So that's kind of like the story behind this, right? So I've come in as a sales agent first, and what I'll do actually before I start this, let me just spin open my little mobile phone app so you can all see me. Bear with me 2 seconds on this one. Okay, just opening this up so you can. It'd be best if you can see the mobile. It looks much better. Okay, I think we are live. Awesome. Here we go. Cool. So I'm just going to minimize this down a little bit. Let's bring it over to the side. Cool. So we're on. So again, what I wanted to do is walk through the story. So I'm a sales agent, right? And I've come in, and if I just minimize that, get rid of that for now until we need it. I'm going to go into my opportunities. First thing I want to do in the morning is, what am I working on? So what's my opportunities? And I can see actually I've got 4 working here, and the top one is actually someone that called inbound earlier on and made an inquiry. And actually I called this customer, Jane Page, about a week ago, just to kind of first contact, explain we've got some deals on, that kind of stuff. So if I just go into here, I can see the opportunity, and if I want, I can also see any activity that was generated by any inbound calls from the customer Jane Page as well. So we're in here. It's not been, she actually made an inquiry, and I made an opportunity based around the inquiry, and I said I was going to get back in touch. So I can kind of check that previous information with inside the record. See here that Jane made an inquiry for new tires on a Lamborghini. She stated she wanted to call back later today to confirm that she can move forward with the order. Okay. So I haven't heard a call back or anything, and obviously the biggest thing I want to do is make sure you're still interested in this opportunity. Okay, so there's a couple of methods or ways you can communicate to her. I could make a click to call outbound, so I could go to, for example, Jane's record and then make a call to her. So if I just go to Jane, for example, go to the contact 1 minute. So I could make a call by just clicking to dial. Standard, you expect that within inside an integration inside a CRM. So you can just make a call straight outbound to her as well. And that's what will kind of generate the call control. So you can put her on mute, pause, transfer, all the things you expect on a physical phone. It's all embedded inside of here, okay? And the technology it's using behind the scene within inside that endpoint under here is actually WebRTC technology through the browser. Okay, so support by Microsoft Edge, awesome. Support by Google Chrome. So just to make that clear. But in this regard, I want to send a text message. I don't want to intrude. She might be busy with a family. You never know what she's doing. So maybe send a quick text to be less intrusive. A couple of ways you can do it. I'm just going to do it the traditional way to show you what happens here if I just open up the channels here. So again, WhatsApp, we got WhatsApp, Facebook, WeChat, things like that are coming into this. And I could make a voice call here, but I want to send a quick SMS. All right. I've just had a pre-made one for now, but you can do templates if you needed to in the future with us. So that'd be quite cool. And what that's doing, if I just bring up the mobile phone, let me switch it back on so you can actually see it. Let's see if I've actually got a message. Yeah, we have. Awesome. So there's Jane. So this is Jane. She's just got the message, and it's me just saying that I'm from the tire specialist. Are you still interested in creating an order for your car? Best number to reach me on is blah, and I've actually put my extension number in because I'm the sales guy. We are based on commission, so we want to make sure that that person comes straight back to me because that's is my opportunity. Okay, so I've already put my extension in. She could come through in our IVR solution where you press 1 for sales, 2 for accounts, 3 for sales, or whatever it might be. But in this regard, I'm gonna just follow along here. So obviously she could reply if she wanted to. Okay, great. Not the best conversationalist. And then what I'm going to do then is just hit here. So this is the customer. I say I want to make a call to Ben. I'm going to follow his instructions. And if I just minimize this down, minimize this here. So you can't hear it on the screen, but I've got this IVR message playing now. It's saying, press 1 for sales, 2 for accounts. I'm going to put the extension number in. There we go. And there you go. Now the page is reopened up again against the contact. Let's answer that. Put myself on mute. So what you're seeing here, first things first, from the technical perspective, inbound call has come in. we've had a perfect match against the phone number, and what we've actually just done is open Jane Page's record for the agent in the Sales Hub. Okay, so straight in the record. We don't steal the real estate either. We don't do a screen pop, so we're not trying to pop something out of a window and slow your RAM down your machine or anything in that regard or your browser. We just want it to be as seamless and zero touch as possible. So if I just minimize that, I've got my full real estate of CRM still. And so Gary's there, it's got the whole handler. Yes, this is where the agent can control the conversation. So if I wanted to do a blind transfer and transfer to another sales colleague, I could do that. I could do a warm transfer, so an attended, where I put the customer on hold, contact my agent first. Hey, I've got a, Jane on the line, can I pass it through? Yeah, not a problem. And then you can send that call through. And I can also do a consult. So if I wanted to bring my manager into the call while I'm on the conversation with Jane, because maybe I need support, I could also do that. So there's loads of elements inside the actual live inbound call that I'm doing here that I can handle on this as well. Okay, cool. So the inbound calls come in, and I'm like, thanks, Jane. So you want to go through with the order? Yeah, of course. Fantastic. So what we can do here, I'm going to go down to the opportunity first and just double check I've got the right one for you. So it's run flat tires, is that correct? Yeah, that's fantastic, that's good. So run flat tires, they're quite high spec tires, a little bit more expensive than these standard kind of tires that you get in the market. So I want to make sure that she has the budget for it, which she confirmed she did last time. She just wasn't sure if she had the time and resource to do it at the time and go through with the order. So brilliant, Jen, let's go through with that order. I'm going to create a new order now for your tires, and I'm just going to pop to the top. And Jane, just to let you know, what we'll do is let's put some information in here, just the initial, the pricing, any discount like I discussed with you. And once I've done that, I'm going to then save this, and it's going to send you an automatic text, okay? And it'll let you know that your order's been created, and anytime you make any amendments to that order or call in or send me a text or something, we can then send you an automated text back again to let you know. If you want, we can even send you one 24 hours before they get the delivery, just to make sure you're available on the day, okay? None of that will be coming through me. It'll just be our system, so an automatic message, but just letting you know that's going to happen. Cool. So, right, I'm going to go into here, and I'm just going to put some details in. So new tires, nice and simple. I'm just going to pick my pricing list. This is what I'm telling you, by the way, everyone. I wouldn't be saying this to the customer. That'd be a very boring conversation for a client. So I've selected my premium tires pricing list, which is awesome, and I just need to know a couple of details. Now, the one thing I do need to have in here is a telephone number. So we could do a lookup here in the demo. I'm just going to type the number in. Okay, but normally we could do a lookup against the contact record or a search if you needed to. There's different methods of doing this, but I just like to show it in its rawest form here. Now I've got all of the information I need there. I've got the pricing list. I can't add the products on until I know that the order's being created first. Okay, so I'm just going to do the save icon, and typical. It's asking me some mandatory fields to fill in. Let me check what I've missed here. Delivery dates, that would help. So I'll put on the 30th, and I think that's everything. Potential customer would also be very nice. Yeah, obviously it'd be very good to add when you make an order, the actual customer that's going to get the order. There we go. Right, thank you. And that's the lookup, funnily enough, that I was talking about. So if I do the save, that has now saved. Now, if I bring my phone up here again, should still be connected. Now I'm still on the phone with the customer. I've just hung up there, but I could technically stay on the phone. The customer, and then I can make sure she has got the confirmation automated message. But the thing is, as soon as we send that message, we can then automatically log that into Dynamics as an automatic message. Depending where you want to put it, you put it in the timeline of the record of the contact, saying that was an automated message gone to them. It's up to you, really. Now, if I just go to so Gary automate, there's my message. Oops, sorry. And there you go. So it's all been sent across, okay? And there'll be an updated one in a second. I'm showing this because the sandbox is a bit slow, but that's the message. And what it's done, it's scrubbing all the information. So if it's all that information from inside the record, so the order ID, the time of the actual order, that kind of stuff, and it's going to send it to the customer. And these messages can be customizable as well, okay? So all we're doing is creating the automation behind sending that text once the order is created. And that's just one form of retail automation we're talking about when it comes to updating your client. Again, they might want to update their personal details, and they might do it online, and we can then text the customer or send a WhatsApp to say, hey, we just updated your details online. Just let us know if it was definitely you, yes or no. There's so many use cases, and that's going to be kind of the eventually the final part of this is discussing the different areas that we can actually help you with on this. I want to ask, it's not, no, I know this is kind of a session, but is there any questions at this point?
Just checking the chat window if there are any questions. There is a question, is there? There is a question. The question is, what will happen if you have a duplicate phone number on another contact record?
Very good question. So, I'll actually, and just to, I'll wrap this part of the story up. So that was just, again, guys, to give a conclusion or a summary to what I just did. I'm an agent, I'm in sales, very simply going into records. I can see any information inside these records with regards to automated messaging or even if I've manually sent a text message to that customer. So Jane Page here, I'd sent a text here. If I wanted, I can open our little the ellipsis button here, and there's a dynamics button here, which allows you to create new records on the fly, but allowing you to also commit your SMS that you manually sent to the customer to the timeline. Okay, so hitting that icon like so, it takes that information, and if I do a refresh on timeline, it will stick that information as a chat. I can go in here, I can see the log of that information and the timings against it as well. So not only with phone calls, and I'll get to this point in a second, so just want to finish this piece off. With phone calls, we also capture all call recordings, both inbound and outbound, and you can choose what calls are recorded in the business, inbound and outbound as well, per agent. Okay, so that's all done. All of the call recordings are stored securely in Solgary's cloud, and Solgary's secure cloud, fully end-to-end encrypted. Okay, and we can also store your data and call recordings, in locations where you as customers specify. So, for example, we have a really large manufacturing company in Canada, and we'll be storing their data in Canada because that's what they requested. So, the big thing about Solgary is that we are an all-channel communications platform, but we're also a tier 1 carrier. So we're our own carrier, so we can provide all of the contact center solution alongside the automated back-end side solutions with regards to this. And I've seen many things in the community recently about when people are talking about automation, it's always about automating your back-end processes in a business. Well, the fundamental part of your business is communication. Okay, so why not automate as much of that back-end menial processes so your customer, your staff, your agents can sell more, your customer service teams can help and satisfy your customers more, rather than focusing on things like trawling through data management and bits and bobs that we can get these the Power Platform to do and Dynamics 365 to do in the back-end with Power Automate and Solgary Automate. That's really the big message here. So no, so thank you for that question. I'm going to go back to a home page. I'm going to do another inbound call here just to give you guys a kind of a view of what happened there earlier. So just give me a refresh. 2 seconds. Just call in. And we'll talk about the different scenarios of that inbound call, because this is important as well, especially if you got a call from a customer. You want to know who's gone back in and what happens if you've got multiple or duplicate numbers inside that record. So if I'm just going to call my main reception. And I'm just going to put that extension in just so you can see the inbound call coming again. So you're probably going to see on the screen again. I'll watch it. Inbound call comes in, perfect match. Haven't even answered the phone yet. So quick, all right? Because that's the zero touch thing. You have no impact on the CRM with regards to the speed of the inbound notification, basically. Get that. Okay, so if an inbound call comes in and it's a perfect match, as you can see on the screen, it will open the record. If it matches multiple phone numbers, we will give you almost like the search page that you have when you come up here, like this, but it will show you accounts, contacts, leads, cases, anything where those numbers are duplicated across. And then you can ask the customer, sorry, just double checking, is this Jane? Oh, it is Jane. You can navigate into Jane's record, or maybe it's Jane's mum, for example. Weird example, but maybe it is, and you navigate into her record, So wherever you navigate to is where that actual call recording and the automatic log of the call will be stored against. In this instance, it was Jane, okay? If it's a customer that's calling in for the very first time, that's a different scenario. So this is where inbound calls come in. We can see that it's a recognized number. It would be a blank screen like this currently because we can't search the number. So what you can do is switch to the Solgary Converse's UI, which is awesome. Go into the view here, and then you can add a new record. So let's say I want to add a new contact. So new contact, very first interaction with them. saw a billboard or a marketing campaign and jumped in and went, oh, I really want to talk to the tire specialist. They've got some great tires going on here, really good discounts, and some really high spec ones too. Let's take your deals in. That very first log and of that life cycle interaction with your customer is in Dynamics, and that's what it's for. We all understand about Dataverse. We all understand about storing and capturing data in the CRM. So Gary brings all of that into the CRM via the communication channels. Okay. I hope that answered your question. We got a little tick there as a thumbs up, so I think that's a good sign. Right, cool. So Seb, this is more of just a talking point, but I kind of wanted to just now jump back over to the slides here and just talk a little bit more about what Solgari Automate can do. So we've talked a lot about how it can automate your messaging and your text messages out with regards to orders. Okay, so we're talking about orders, delivery, updates. We're not just talking about to the consumer. We could be doing this to these suppliers, like I said at the beginning of the demo. We could actually send a text message to 2 people at once if we needed to. So one goes to the supplier for the order of the tires to make sure they get arrived in 2 weeks as the customer requests, while the customer gets an order confirmation that she's actually gonna, we put the order through and she's got a discount rate or whatever it might be. So again, it's just thinking about those things, but we've also got, there's business backend processing you might trigger. There's think about police forces and things out there in the world that, have to inform hundreds and hundreds of officers that they're on shift next week. All you need is a message to get sent to some system down a communication channel and go, all right, switch, you're on shift today, you're on shift. So that's just another example of something we could do in regards to the automation side. Customer alerts, updating customers on specific new products, new services, things like that. Checking if customers are okay. Again, using that use case with regards to the health business that we are working with, healthcare business we're working in the UK. They themselves, they reach out with the SMS automation of to 10,000 patients, I should say, in the morning at, like, for example, at 7 a.m. and maybe even at 5 p.m. checking on their well-being, giving them options on that text message to press 1 to, are you okay? Do you have any symptoms? No. 2, no, I don't have any symptoms. For 2, 3, I'm in isolation. How's your isolation going? We can actually call that customer, that patient, if they have still got symptoms, and check if they're okay. And it can actually be a machine, so speech to text, text to speech. So it can actually say, how's your well-being today? It might be a bit robotic, but it's, again, you're thinking about these things where you want your doctors and your GPs and your agents to be sitting on the phone waiting for customers to call directly through the lines on a voice call. This is calling out and making sure that people are right and checking up on them. Okay, so there's a lot of, again, really automate the process in the back-end system. And then I think the final part really here is marketing campaigns. Now, because Solgari is fully integrated into D365 CE, the big part of that is the marketing side, which Seb sort of showed you on that diagram. And the whole, if you could automate the big thing that I'm going to talk about is actually customer voice. So I've just had a conversation. I've done the sales process with Jane. What do I want to do next? I want to just double check and see how was that experience for her. Could I have done anything better? Did I talk too much? Probably. So when I send a text, so we could actually automatically send a text out, or we could do an automatic voice call. So it has a customer service agent on the end of it, almost like a dialer, but we don't really call them dialer at Solgari because we're kind of using a more advanced engine where it's really about just automating, you connecting an agent with a customer, depending on a time period and a retries, and it's all automating through Dynamics D365 marketing. So you create a campaign, you put your members in there in that campaign, your people, your customers, and then you can choose the channel of how you actually reach out to them. With customer voice, we can use SMS, we can use WhatsApp, or we can use voice to send automatic surveys out to customers. Again, via text message, nice and simple, it's in text format, and you can put anything you want in there. So you build it inside of Power Automate and customer voice. And when you build it, no matter what kind of, as a marketeer, your template you put into there, you might put some links to things like a website, whatever it might do. We'll take all of that, suck it up, and send it straight out. And we can do it to as many members as you need to, and you can run those campaigns, side by side as much as you need to, static or dynamic. Okay, so that's, again, it's just another thing to think about is getting the feedback that would come back into Dynamics, and then using things like Power BI to see the uplift of what customers are getting satisfied versus what customers are not. It's a huge impact. Anything else I've missed there, Seb?
I don't think so.
I think we've still got 15 minutes. So, like, if there is any questions,
that'd be great.
Please, we would love to answer them.
We love to answer them. We want to be challenged at the end of the day. That's also why we're here. I think everybody understand the value proposition, how powerful is our platform sitting on the Microsoft Dynamic piece, how we can deliver amazing outcome for the end customer, but also for the agent and the employees of organization. So, but obviously, it'd be great to have some question, maybe some feedback, or if you want to talk about more use case specific, feel free. We have a bit of time for once we're ahead, so it's a good way.
Seb, just to ask before we do have any questions, what I will do, everyone, is please ask your questions, maybe direct them towards Sebastian. I'm just going to show you one more thing. I think that'll be really good for everyone to understand about Solgari, because we've talked about D365, we've talked about omnichannel, customer service workspace, but I also, how does that all work? And again, Solgari is an all communications platform fully in the cloud, so it doesn't work with on-premise. It's just fully in the cloud, and with that, you're going to expect to have some kind of management system where you can manage ACD management, skills-based, all your skills-based routing, your queuing, your historical reporting, your wallboards, your automated processes. Funnily enough, how do we get those campaigns in Dynamics to talk to Solgari? Well, what I've just looked into is a thing called the Solgari console. It's a piece of the puzzle. It's a big piece of the puzzle. This is what we class as your tenancy that links to your main production environment for Dynamics 365. Okay, it's very simple to do as well. Once you've installed the channel integration framework and everything's done there, you just stick your little link in here. So you can see I'm omnichannel right now. I can technically just grab that and connect that omnichannel environment straight into the actual tenancy here. The tendency, or what I like to, I'll say online portal, because that's more recognized, I think, to a lot of people in the community that have probably worked with online, either VoIP systems and things like that. We don't like to talk about, as voice is a major part of what we do. This is technically a hosted PBX in the background here, but on top of that is all the other channels that we've been talking about today on the actual demonstration. But just to give you an idea, for those queues we were talking about earlier with regards to when a WhatsApp comes in, or a phone call, or live chat, or a video call, or whatever you want to call it, comes in, here's basically where you would actually be able to see the queues. So if I went to manage and monitor queues inside of here, I have, and it's nice here because I can see the different elements. So this is very quiet right now because it's a sandbox. But imagine these are all your agents, and you've got about 7 or 8 agents in the WhatsApp queue here. I've got some handling support queries from a voice perspective. I've got a chat queue for agents handling the chat, and a few Facebook messenger queues coming in as well. So we kind of treat the queues very similar to a voice queues, but there's a lot of intelligence and AI built into this. Solgari's AI, so it's very intelligent AI that we got built into the solution. This here would be for a normal contact center manager, would probably be someone that would sit in here and go, all right, I can see all the sales agents. They're on outbound calls or inbound calls. What's going on? This is their presence. So if I just jump over to here, I'm still on that call actually. I can drop down here and go to the presence manager as an agent. Now, if I'm on a call, I've got mine switched off, but normally it would actually set you to on a call, or on a chat, or on a SMS, or on a text message, or even in wrap-up time. So we have wrap-up time at the queue level. Inbound call comes in, agent handles the inquiry for a support call, for example. Once they come off that call, they've got 30 seconds to wrap up, and then the next call served to them. So the agent can control the presence from these drop-down aux codes. But you also have the ability, like I said, we have automatic advanced presence that puts the agent into those statuses depending on the activities. So because of that, again, if I put myself to available, it's not going to let me because, funnily enough, I'm on a call. So it locks me down, which is good to show anyone that's a manager of this kind of stuff. But you can imagine this screen, it's like a Christmas tree. So it's all lighting up, it's all changing to different colors. Like you're going to have in yellows and greens and all that stuff. And it's just live, real-time reporting against what your queues are, what's happening in your queues. Very easy at this point from someone. So I actually want to move Dan. No, let's get Rob, and I'm going to move him into the WhatsApp queue. Let's say he wasn't already in there. He's already in there, but that's why I moved him in here, okay? Because I need more people to handle the WhatsApp for business account for messages coming in. So that's kind of what, again, you can move people very quickly. You can add overflows and all that kind of good stuff with the management. Alongside that, we have the our warboards, which are per queue level. So I've got all my visibility in real time, what's going on with every single queue and every single channel of communication. Alongside that, I've got my queues. So if I was dropping this down, I could switch to the WhatsApp. How many WhatsApps are we getting in? How many voice calls are we getting in? That kind of stuff. Okay. And this right now, it's just obviously very quiet, but normally what you'd have is probably loads of agents on this list. You'd see their extensions, you know exactly their status. So presence, what's their presence right now? Are they online? Are they offline? Are they in rapid time? Are they on a call? Is it an inbound, outbound conversation, duration? And then you got your handling times as well. And we're always adding more to this because Sogari, we own all of the raw data because it's our own IP with regards to our platform, and we own basically we can do anything we want to it, and that's the whole thing. With customers usually come to us at the beginning, they will usually ask to build some additional reporting as well. So if they need more, that's more than what we already have existing outside the box. So reporting wise, if I just pop in here, I can see there's different kind of reporting, like, answered, abandon rates, SLAs. You've got your first call resolutions, kind of reporting, that kind of stuff. So it's just to give you an example of some of the ones out there, the handling of each one of your communications as well in here. So it's just, again, a really quick overview because we're fully embedded we're an inner circle partner with Microsoft, but we have this product in the background that works seamlessly with Microsoft. And you don't manage this part, you manage your communications from inside this tenancy or this view, and everything else will be done in D365. If the automation piece comes into it, though, that's where you would do. So if I go to monitor, I believe, yes. So you create a D365 marketing campaign. Once you've created that campaign, you can then see what it is. You can then obviously select that campaign straight away in here. It's fully connected. And in the middle, what Sogari has created is a COM API. It's an API documentation that we give to Dynamics 365 partners. And then they basically very simply link, and it can take less than a week. You can link basically your D365 marketing to Sogari's tenancy here. And then all of that information gets passed through. We then do a bit of work in our background to allow you to load all the data will be loaded from that marketing campaign you have. You'll see what's processing, you'll see what's awaiting retries, and you can set the retry temps as well. So when do you want it to retry? And I'm not just talking here about, it sounds like I'm talking about some kind of, again, automated dialer solution here. But this isn't just for voice. This is for the SMS and all the other reasons. How many times do you want to, when do you want to send text messages in bulk outbound? Without a human being involved in it. So there's lots of different automation pieces in here as well. Cool. I think that's my waffle over, Seb, now.
Thank you, Ben. There seems to be some questions.
Yeah.
So the first question is by VJ, who's asking, is this a standalone or a Power App portal where you view your logs? So I think the Sogari screen you're showing there, the log screen, they have a question on that.
Yes,
is that a portal or is that, yeah?
Perfect. No, but good question. So yes, this is the Sogari console is completely standalone. Okay, so we are a standalone communications company, all communications platform company, but then we are a full inner circle partner and fully native integrator into Dynamics 365, if that helps. So this here is all our own IP in a sense.
And the important point that underlies that, Ben, as you mentioned earlier, is the fact that because it's built on your platform, it takes away the heavy plumbing out of Dynamics, thereby not making your Dynamics implementation too bloated and in technical debt. Would you agree?
100%, yeah, 100% right. And the thing is, there's no implementation. I'm going to reiterate that. I was even shocked when I started. I saw Gary a year ago, and they said it's not. You don't implement this. You just configure it, and that's the simplicity of this thing. But there's no risk to your operation when it comes to your CRM ERP system with D365. That's a huge element here. There's no risk to your performance issues, attaching to too many dependencies, like, for example, too many entities and forms. If you want to remove it, it becomes a nightmare, that kind of stuff. We don't do any of that. we stay away from that kind of managed package route, like I said. But yes, to control and manage all of those channels and the subscriptions, obviously there's going to be a license cost with Solgaria and a license cost with Dynamics. So you'd have a license with Dynamics, for example, for the sales agent, and you'd also have a license for Solgaria as well.
Ricardo Casaka asks, as a partner, is it possible to extend this? For example, new reports, for an example.
Well, like I said, we work with a massive range of partners, huge range of partners. Seb, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, of course. So the question is if they can extend it. That's correct.
Correct.
So when they say, do they want to extend it within their own environment, or as a partner, they want to integrate that into some of the capability?
No, sorry, Seb, I'll jump in. I think I meant when I said jump in, it was more about the kind of partnerships we have. I think with regards to, we'll work with partners basically. And like I said, Seb can maybe mention like the kind of partner network that we have. It's huge, but we, if a partner comes to us, usually they'll work with us for a customer and then create a report depending on the reporting needs of that client. So it's not something the partner would change per se. If that's probably the best answer here. We'd work with you and the customer.
So
what the requirements
right, I see what you're saying, Ben. So basically what you're saying is that there is a partnership with, there's a partner agreement that you have with partners, and
Correct.
you work collectively with partners to deliver their requirements.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
for anyone out there on the community right now, that you might be a D365 rep or a company right now that's listening in, and you're going to have customer scenarios where they're going to use the omnichannel. They're going to need an all-channel communications platform. That's very easy to configure. Again, I've dropped lots of things in here today explaining about no implementation, good speed of deployment, easier user adoption, working with all of the different modules, things like that, because that's important for everyone to know. And I'm head of pre-sales, so it's not me trying to sell that element to you. It's trying to make you understand that in your heads, if you're getting customers that are needing this kind of a solution that you're seeing with automation in the background alongside it, then we're the ones for you because we're fully there within Microsoft.
There's a question by Dima who's asking, how can we add SLAs onto the support case with other units of the company and its monitoring and reporting?
I think that more would be when it comes to SLAs. Now we will report on the SLAs, but I think more when it's driven by the skills-based routing and the SLAs from Dynamics, that'll be governed inside D365, not Solgaria. We're not the CRM piece here. We integrate with the CRM. So I think you'll be able to monitor the SLAs and even set SLAs inside of the Solgaria console from a communications element standpoint in here. But all of the skills-based and SLAs that you set in Dynamics will be governed in there by you and your partner or yourselves.
That's great. On the last 3 minutes, looking for more questions. I do have a question myself. On your last presentation, there's another question. VJ asks, thanks for the details. Does the external portal meet compliances such as HIPAA in case information of patients' contacts?
Yes, brilliant. Actually, all of the above. Also PCI DSS. So Gary's actually it's kind of blossomed from a military background. So I say that not flippantly. I say that because of our massive attention to detail to security. The actual UI that you're seeing in there, the call that I'm still on, luckily that's still sharing, is so this is Solgaria's application, but it's hosted on Azure. So again, this is why we got the security behind the books, but fully compliant with HIPAA compliance. And we've got a lot of healthcare companies, both here and in the US. Some we can't talk about actually because of on the NDAs and things. But we deal with a lot of different patient information, and we even have ability to send. For anyone that works with the healthcare, we can send automated messages with images in them as well. And what I mean by images is, and they have to be full HD images. So if you're a doctor sending a GP an X-ray, you want to make sure that image is HD minimum, because otherwise it's going to have proper implications. We do that kind of stuff as well, and that's all fully automated for healthcare industry. So I know I've just gone a bit over your question there, but like I said, I just fatten it up a bit so you understand what we're doing.
Great stuff. With 2 minutes left, there were some questions I had myself actually, knowing that many government organisations as well as financial service organizations, especially organizations that have a contact center, now that they're home based, where their staff, the majority of their staff are now working from home. It would be interesting to know a bit about how the Solgari infrastructure allows these types of organizations to allow the scenario where contact staff can work from home. From an infrastructure perspective, where you have the traditional kind of PBXs, setups are quite complicated.
Yeah.
How would this kind of solution allow organizations to easily transition between office and home, for example?
Awesome question, Raz. And funnily enough, everyone, I don't know if everyone's experienced COVID, and we've all been there. We all were in offices, and then we all went at home. So Gary is because it's completely online. There's no physical kit you need for this solution. Again, if you're a member, you've got a license with Dynamics and you're using Solgari, you'll have this as your phone or your endpoint. Okay. If you're you don't have, maybe you're in that business, but you don't have a Dynamics license. So in that regard, we have a standalone phone built into the browser, basically. And as long as you have the browser and a good internet connection, and it's only 92 kilobytes per call when you actually make a call for our solution, then you can use basically this here. So this is the web phone for anyone that doesn't have a license to D365, but it's pretty much exactly the same as what you see in Dynamics 365. And then this is what you'd have if you have a license. Okay, so we're covering both angles, back office, front office, good to go. But again, Raz, there's no hardware needed. As long as you've got a router, good internet connection, you can make outbound inbound calls, you're good to go.
Thank you once again. Excellent. So there are no further questions. So please leave your contact details. I know you've shared your contact details in the chat window. I'm sure there's many partners and end users who would like more information. Please contact Sebastian, Ben, and I think Vincent as well. They've shared their email in the chat for more information, more of the details. I think there's a lot of questions around IVR and how you configure that. So I think there's lots more questions that you can follow up with directly. Thanks once again, Ben and Sebastian.
No, thank you very much. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very much. And without further ado, we are on the hour for the next session, AI in Dynamics 365, with none other than Julian. There we have Julian Sharp. So Julian, for those who, well, I'm sure you all know Julian. So if you haven't, then brace yourself for a wonderful experience at the Dynamics 365 Bootcamp for learning about AI in Customer Data Platform. Okay, so without further ado, Julian, by the way, you're on mute, I think.
No.
Oh, I can hear you now. Yeah.
You can hear me. Excellent. No, I wasn't speaking.
Excellent.
So you can see